the good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. How you doing? I'm thinking today, we take a trip to Italy, we go to Tuscany. So when I was in Tuscany, what was really big is they'd make pastry roll, and they'd stuff it with really whatever was in the garden, whatever was in season. So depending on when you go to Tuscany, the same pastry roll, if you will, might have some different ingredients. So this was a combination of some ingredients and foods that I really loved that I wanted to share with you. So today we're making a Tuscan style pastry roll. So let's go over ingredients. Number one, we're going to need some pizza dough. So I love to make a pizza dough. I make it usually the day before. So I've got myself essentially about a pound or so of a pizza dough. And that's going to give you a nice puff and crisp, and it's going to be delicious. All right, now we want to add our ingredients to stuff that puppy inside. So we're going to add about a pound of mozzarella. I like fresh mozzarella. So it doesn't have to be, you can get to shredded dry, but I like to get the fresh mozzarella and then I like to shred it. So here I've got 1 pound of shredded fresh mozzarella. Here I've got 2 cups measured after you shredded it of a Parmigiano Reggiano, okay, which can be a little tagged pricey wise, so you can get the less expensive version. But I've got 2 cups of Parmesan cheese. I've got 3 roasted peppers. Oh! Tell me this thing is going to be delicious. Now, normally when I make this, I'll put about 2, but I had 1 left, and I felt bad because it was in the refrigerator all by itself, so I did the 3. So I've got a half of a red pepper, which is going to give it a kick. I've got here just shy of a cup, let's call it 3/4 of a cup of Kalamata olives, and I've got them pitted. Here I've got 2 ripe tomatoes, pomodoros, on the vine. I've got 1 eggplant, which we're going to prep that baby and add some just phenomenal flavor. I've got 1 lemon. We're going to use the zest of a lemon. I've got here a half of a pound of pancetta. Next, we're going to need some garlic. Sometimes I feel a little crazy, a little naughty. I'm going to add a lot more garlic. Other times I don't. We're probably going to microplane about 4 cloves of garlic in this. It's going to be so delicious. Now we're going to add some fresh ground pepper, and this is a Sicilian sea salt. Just delicious. It's briny and it's earthy, but it's a softer flavor of a salt. Last but not least, this recipe calls for some fantastic molto delizioso extra virgin olive oil. I'm trying to think where I could get one. Hey, for any of my new viewers, I got a farm in Italy. It's right above the heel. It's in Puglia or Apulia, Italy. And we co-op with a group of farms to bring in some of the best olive oil, I think, on the planet. It's extra virgin. It's Italian. I named the company after my 2 boys, Vito, hey, how you doing? And Joe. And I'll tell you, if you go to our website or our Facebook page, Cooking Italian with Joe, or Vito and Joe's Olive Oil, and you click buy it now, we will literally drop ship you a bottle right to your home, right to your front doorstep. I call it a trip to Italy right in the bottle. Okay, our first thing I want to start prepping and cooking is that eggplant. So in prepping the eggplant, really there's a couple of things I want to cook here. I want to cook the eggplant, I want to cook the pancetta, and I want to cook down a little bit of that garlic. So I'm just going to cut the top off, and then I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to leave the skin right on, guys. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cube it, and then I'm going to give it in about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch little cubes. Such a beautiful vegetable, isn't it? Isn't it just gorgeous with that purple? Great flavor. And now I'm going to bring my pan over, and I'm going to fill it up with a couple tablespoons of Vito and Joe's olive oil. Yeah, that's a shameless plug. I'm going to go ahead and put my eggplant in there. And I'm going to put my pancetta in there. And they're going to take about the same time to cook down. And then I'm going to take some fresh ground pepper. And I'm going to put a good teaspoon of fresh ground pepper in there. And then on our salt, I'm just going to put a pinch because the pancetta has salt in it already. But I want to salt up or season up the eggplant. So maybe a 1/4 teaspoon or so. And then with everything in there, what I'm going to do is stir it and get that oil around everything I can before I add it to the heat. I've got the heat on low to medium, and I'm just going to give it another quick little stir. And then the fat from the pancetta, along with the moisture from the eggplant and the olive oil, will cook it. And we're just going to let that cook down until the pancetta is cooked and my eggplant's really tender. I've got the oven preheated at 375 degrees. I'm going to grab a bowl here. Let's add our roasted red peppers. So I'm going to put them down. Essentially, I want to cube it. So I'm going to cut it one way, and then I'm going to turn it and then cut it the other way. Now the reason I like to cube it is because it's a lot easier to eat. If not, when you bite into it, a lot of times a big hunk of pepper or food will come out. So if I cube it, I get a little bit in each piece and it's a lot easier to eat, and I get a nice equal distribution of the flavor. I'm gonna put it right in my bowl. Next, I'm gonna cube up these tomatoes. So I wanna deflesh them. So I'm gonna cut them in half. I'm gonna cut them in a quarter. And then see all that moisture? If I don't get all rid of that moisture, everything gets soggy in your roll. So just take your tomato and open it up and then just get rid of your seeds with that watery, fleshy part. So now I'm just gonna cube it just like I did everything else. Tomatoes are done. Next we're gonna take our olives. Then we're gonna cut them in at least half to quarter. Olives are done. Okay, I decided on 4 cloves of garlic. So I'm gonna hit it and I'm gonna go ahead and use my mincer here and crush it. Whoa, look at that. That is truly liquid vampire repellent. So I'm gonna do it this way because I want to throw it in the heat and just take that rough bite out of it. Cook it down just for a few moments with the eggplant and pancetta. Next, I'm gonna take my red pepper and I'm gonna clean the seeds out because I don't want all that heat, because what I want here is warmth. I don't want hot. Next, I'm gonna add my zest. I'm just gonna do the whole lemon. Perfect. And then I'm gonna cut that lemon in half, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then I'm gonna take all this and add it to my pan. So here's my pancetta. Here's my eggplant. See how the eggplant's all mushy or just on the verge of mush? Pancetta's cooked down beautifully. Now I'm gonna add my garlic, my hot pepper, my lemon. So that heat is gonna take the bite out of the garlic for the next couple of minutes. It'll allow that pepper, the red pepper, to cook down, disperse some of its flavor and heat, and it's gonna allow that lemon zest, the oils, to be released. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes. When I pull back on the pan, you see all that beautiful deliciousness there, that concentrated flavor? So I wanna deglaze it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move everything off to the side here, and then I'm gonna use my lemon with a juicer, and I'm just gonna hit it right over it. And then I'm just gonna take that lemon and move it around a little. Oh, that's perfect. See that? That's all flavor right there. Shut the heat off. Now I'm gonna take my bowl with other veggies that I prepped, and I'm just gonna add this. Now I got everything added, I'm gonna give it a really good stir. And I wanna use that heat to start tempering the other vegetables, as well as help stop the cooking process on what I've already cooked. I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside. Guys, let's make this next part real easy. So I want my pan that I wanna cook it in, and I'm gonna take a piece of parchment paper. I'm gonna lay it out. I'm gonna take a little bit of olive oil, put a little bit of a splash, obviously, Vito and Joe's, and I'm gonna spread it right over the parchment paper. Then take your pizza dough, which I let rise in there with the olive oil, and then I'm gonna spread it out. And just take your time, guys. Don't rush it. It has that tendency to wanna spring back. And now we're gonna take our vegetables, and remember, we basically just need one edge here that's kind of open because we got to roll it over itself, and I leave a little bit on the side there. Now I'm gonna grab my mozzarella. Same idea, spread it out as equal as I can. Listen, I got Jerry Vale playing, you know, a little Italiano music. And now I'm gonna take my Parmesan. Now let me show you how nice it is. So you're gonna take your parchment and you're gonna use that to start the roll. And then you're just gonna roll it. Tuck your sides in so you don't lose it on the side. Then you've got that top. Just pull that over and then peel it back. Pull the dough over. It'll thin, and that's okay. I've got my tray. I'm gonna take the roll, but I want the part that I sealed, I want that in the middle of the pan because I don't want it to open. And have that side down, it won't open on you. So our oven's set at 375. I want to get this right in the middle, and I want to set my timer. 15 minutes is what I would start with, because sometimes you got to pull it out and reposition it. A couple other things are real important to make this come out molto Italiano, right? To make you feel like you're in Tuscany, is if you subscribe to our channel, right? I'm always trying to figure out a new transition. So if you hit that red button, you know, any trips I've got, any new recipes, any new blogging with Boreal, it'll come right to your notification box. And it means a lot to me when you subscribe to our channel. And hey, makes you part of the family. And don't forget to click Vito and Joe's olive oil. All right, so let's get this guy in the oven. 15 minutes, we'll check it. Guys, I gotta tell you, the kitchen, the aroma in here, it's delizioso, no doubt about it. It's been about 25 minutes total cook time. I turned it one other time, came out perfect. It's got a beautiful crust on there. You can tell it's nice and gooey on the inside. You can see the steam coming off. So you've got that beautiful crust on the outside. You got your tomatoes, your pancetta, your eggplant, your garlic, your olives. I wish I could give it to you right now, man. Taste-o-vision, smell-o-vision. This is always my favorite part of the videos. The crust is crispy. First thing I can smell is the olives, and then the garlic. Oh, You got that crisp crust, and you got that deep flavor because you cooked the olives, so the oil comes out. And you got the cheese, the Parmesan cheese, and the mozzarella cheese, and the pancetta. And I love the texture of that pizza dough because you get that crisp crust crunch on the outside. It gives that beautiful texture in your mouth. And then it becomes soft and kind of almost doughy, which I love. And there's flavor all the way through. You got the tomatoes, the eggplant. It's literally like going out to the garden, grabbing a bunch of vegetables, wrapping it up in pizza dough, and baking it. I feel like I'm in Tuscany right now. A little Prosecco, Pinot Grigio. Guys, such a simple, fun, easy recipe. Now remember, real important, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me when you subscribe. And hey, I'd love to have you part of the Borio family. And also, guys, remember, there's a link down below or a website or Facebook, and just click it and buy it now. Love to send you a bottle of my family's olive oil. And you know, as I always tell you guys every week, and it's something I say truly from my heart, shut off the cell phones, put them in a basket, take them away from the kids for a couple hours, you know, and shut the TV off and shut the computer off and sit around the table and make a mess and tell stories. And yeah, the kids are going to kick and scream a few minutes. But after you get into those stories, you know, and you get to celebrate your heritage and you set some traditions for you and your family that'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. Guys, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, mwah, bon appetito.
A good life, full of fun, seems